Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Sarah with Theresa B Crafts and more. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm doing a collaboration with Theresa B DIY, but I'll talk more about her in just a few minutes. First, let's get started with craft. For today's first craft, we're going to take one of these little wood plaque signs that I picked up from Michael's, and we're going to give it 2 coats of Waverly white chalk paint. Next, I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to mark straight lines from corner to corner. Then I'm going to take my washi tape and I'm going to go right along those lines. And then I'm going to add another piece of washi tape as a spacer. Add a third piece of washi tape so they're all together, but I will take out that second piece of washi tape. So then we'll have these diagonal strips showing along the outside of this picture frame, or whatever you want to call this project frame. And I'll keep going in this fashion until it's all complete. After I get all the washi tape on, I'm going to take one of my magic makeup sponges. Really, they're not magic, but I like to use them because I think that they are magical when you're doing taped off areas. So I just take the makeup sponge and I dip it into my paint, tap it off, and then I tap it onto my project where I want the paint to go. As you can see here, I'm skipping one set of the unpainted, or the areas where there's no washi tape. So I'm going to be adding a different color where there is white. So where there is white now, I'm going to add this orange color. I'll leave all the paint colors and everything I use in my description box down below in case you're interested in specific colors. So here I'm just dabbing that paint onto those areas. So then I have blue, orange, and white stripes along the frame of my sign here. Taking this gold marker that I got from the Dollar Tree, I am just going to go along each of the outside painted areas, if that makes any sense. I just wanted to add a little bit of gold to the outside of each painted area. And this gold paint from the paint pen from the dollar store is really great. So if you see one, pick it up and give it a try, because I don't think that you'll be disappointed in the quality or the way it works. So far I've been very impressed. Next I'm going to take this stencil. This is a folk art stencil that I picked up on clearance at Michael's. It was sold by the Hallmark brand. It was like a 3-pack of stencils, and they are self-adhesive on the back. So I'm just placing down the part of the stencil that I want to use, and then I'm going to rub it down so that the adhesive is stuck nicely to my project. And then I'm going to take my makeup sponge here. I started off with the makeup sponge, but then I do switch to a paintbrush. But I'm just dabbing that paint into the areas where I want it to go. Here I'm taking the celery from Waverly and I'm painting in like the stems of these little flowers. And then I'm going to go over it with the moss just to add some definition and depth to the project. So it just gives it a little more interest. So even though this project is a little more time consuming, I think that the final product, or the finished project, is really spectacular, and it will definitely be one of those pieces that your loved one that you're giving this to will appreciate. It looks wonderful. It looks like something you would have maybe bought in a store, and you know, you can customize this to however you want it to be. You can do the colors the way you want, whatever colors you want. And you can even customize sayings and whatever. I mean, the possibilities are endless with stencils like this. So I took that orange, and then I had a darker orange that I went in and just dabbed over the flower just to add a little bit of interest again, just like I did with the moss chalk paint. So here I'm using that gold marker pen again from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just filling in a couple of the areas of the stencil that I wanted to be gold. And here I was just testing, pulling back the stencil to test and see. I was just curious how that gold pen was going to work with the stencil, and actually it worked perfect. It was really great. So this stencil has like a little banner that you can add to your picture here. And so what I did is I put the banner on to my project, and then I actually, instead of using the words that were part of the stencil, I just filled in the whole entire banner with paint. I didn't stencil the words for this because I think it said "So Lucky, So Happy," which would be great for Mother's Day, but that's not what I wanted this particular project to say. So I wanted to add my own sentiment to this banner, so I just filled it in after I went around the outside edges. And unfortunately, I don't have the footage for that. It's gone. So here is what I wrote out. I just used my own cursive handwriting, and I wrote out "my mother, my friend." And what I'm doing is I'm going to do a pencil transfer here. So I'm just rubbing a pencil along the back of my project where my words are, and then when I put it on top of my project to transfer, I will just write over what is already there, and that pencil on the back will transfer the words onto my project. And you'll have to forgive my hat there. I didn't even realize that it was in frame. So here I'm taking a navy blue Sharpie marker. This is just a fine tip Sharpie marker. And I am going over my words. Now, ideally, a paint pen would be much better for this. Sharpies don't work super well over like acrylic paint. They dry out easily. So, but because Sharpie markers are alcohol ink markers, you can dip the tip into a little bit of alcohol to refresh your tip. And then I found another stencil that I wanted to use here to add a little bit more pretties to the bottom. So again, I'm just using a paintbrush here and just dabbing that paint on. I made sure that that stencil was pushed down very flat and very nicely against my project so that the paint wouldn't bleed. But again, I am just using up and down tapping motions onto my stencil with the paintbrush to help keep it from bleeding. I also wanted to add a little bit more to this banner, and so I'm just doing like a dot dash pattern here along the edge of the banner, just to give it a little something extra. And that, my friends, pretty much completes this project. I love how this turned out. I think it is just perfect. I think it looks beautiful, and I think if I received this, I would be absolutely just in love with it. It can be hung up on a wall, or you can display it like I have here on a picture display. Yeah, I think it's just perfect. So today I'm collaborating with Theresa from Theresa B DIY. She is such a fabulous crafter. I just adore her stuff. If you haven't gone over and checked out Theresa's channel, make sure you do. This next month of May, she is doing a fundraiser for Fisher House. So make sure you head over to her channel to find out more information about that fundraiser. And check out her channel, give her some love, and let her know that I sent you over. So our second DIY is going to be a little ladder display piece. So I'm taking, these are like the steaks that you can buy at Walmart. I think they're like $1.84 for a good sized steak. So I bought 2 of them and I cut them down to, the long pieces are 16 inches each and the shorter pieces are 5 inches each. Here I'm just marking where I want my cross pieces to be with a pencil so that when I go to glue them in place, I know exactly where they need to go. So Theresa and I decided that we were going to do Mother's Day projects. So you'll see a theme in the projects today, which is just right in time for Mother's Day coming up not too far in the future. So hopefully both my video and Theresa's video gives you some inspiration and maybe some good ideas for some DIYs that you will want to do for the special women that maybe you feel motherly for, or you know, feel like that you love like a mother, or for your mother, grandmother, aunt, cousin, friend, whatever it is. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. Once I got my ladder assembled, I'm going to give this 2 coats of this apple barrel paint. And then once that was completed, I am taking another stencil from the set that is the same as the stencils that I used before. And I am just going to give this a layer of the Waverly chalk paint in white. So now you can see my stencil isn't quite long enough for my ladder. So what I will do is I will stencil out a portion of it, and then I will lift my stencil off, use my heat gun to dry the white paint, and then I will reapply my stencil down further, matching up some of those areas so that the stencil flows cohesively. So the nice thing about DIY projects like this for Mother's Day or for special holidays like this is that you can customize them to be for whoever you want them to be. You know, a lot of times I'll find something in the store that I really love and it'll say to a mother or to a grandmother, and it, you know, maybe I don't want to have it for that specific person because it matches like my grandmother's personality better than it does my mother. So I'm taking these 2.5 by 3 inch frames. They're just the little frames from the Dollar Tree, and I gave them 1 coat of the Waverly white chalk paint, and then I'm going over it with this orange paint. Again, I'll have the paint colors in the description box. I think this is like tropical something. Can't remember. I gave each of those frames 2 coats of that orange paint, and then I'm just taking off the little stands on the back of the frames. Next, I'm pulling into this paper pad because they had these cut aparts that are in there, and I thought they were perfect for these frames. Now, if I was going to give this project to somebody specific, I would probably put pictures of like my kids or, you know, somebody special, whoever I was giving it to. I'd probably put pictures in this instead of these sayings, but because I'm not sure who this might be going to, if anyone, I just decided to keep it generic here and use these cut aparts, and I think it turned out really nice. So this is definitely an option. Next, I wanted to add command hooks to these so that they could be removable and the pictures could be changed out whenever they need to be. So I'm just measuring out the size that I need to fit inside the picture frame. You want that back piece to be able to come out. And then I'm just going to attach the frame here to the rung of the ladder, so to speak. And I'll do that to both frames. Now here in a minute, you will see that I do add a third rung to my ladder. I thought it looked a little empty there in the middle. So I don't show doing that because it was a complete and total afterthought. But you'll see it in the pictures here in just a minute. So you'll have to let me know if you like it with the third rung or without. And I think this project turned out really great. So for our third and final DIY, this is a very easy and quick, simple project. You just need one of these paper pads that this one I picked up from Michael's, and it has these cut aparts that are in tag shapes. And each of the tags say something different on them. So I'm just picking out 3 coordinating papers to go with this, and then I will just cut these tags apart. But I'm going to leave them in these strips first and cut down my coordinating paper before I cut everything apart, just because that'll be easier to add to the back of my tags. And you definitely don't need a paper cutter for this project. You can just use a ruler and a pair of scissors to cut all the paper here. I'm just using some wet glue to attach the coordinating papers to the back of the tags. And I just like using wet glue for projects like this because it gives you just a couple of minutes to like wiggle it around and it's not stuck down immediately like with the tape runner. So for the first pieces of coordinating paper, there wasn't a direction that the print went in, but for my third one, it is a directional print. So I wanted to make sure that the print and the tags were going the same direction. So you don't want one being upside down on the back of the tag. And I'm just making sure I'm rubbing those 2 pieces of paper together really well so that they're adhered nicely. Next, I'm going to just use my paper trimmer again just to cut apart each of these tags. And then I'll use a pair of scissors to cut the corner triangles out. The nice thing is that these are printed that way, so you can just use a pair of scissors and cut along the lines and it'll work perfectly for you. So I'm going to cut each of these tags out. And then I'm going to arrange the back colors in the pattern that I want. And then I did go through and find a tag for the front that I liked better. So next I'm going to take my crocodile here, and you don't need a crocodile either. You can just punch the middle hole with a regular hole punch that you can actually get at the Dollar Tree. So don't need any fancy tools for this. And you just cut the hole right in the middle there. The nice thing about these tags is that everything is pretty much done for you and it's just super easy. So I'm taking one of these book binding rings or binder rings. I got these at the dollar store a while back. I don't know if they still carry them or not, but you can definitely find these on like Amazon, Walmart. I think they're pretty easy to find if the Dollar Tree doesn't still carry them. So I'm just going to put my tags on the ring, and that is pretty much all there is to it. This is just a cute little, like, can be a photo album. You could add photos to the backs of each of these tags. You can embellish the tags further if you wanted to. You could make, you know, put little sayings or writings on the backs. You could put gift cards in there. You could make little coupons to go on the backs of these. So the possibilities for little tag albums like this is endless. And I thought that the sentiments on the front of these tags was really fitting for Mother's Day, or, I mean, it wouldn't have to be for Mother's Day because it's kind of a friendship mother, like, kind of, it doesn't specifically say Mother's Day is what I'm trying to get at. So you could use this for a variety of times, but I thought it was fitting for Mother's Day. And these tuck nicely into like purses and stuff. So they could be like a grandma brag book or just like a mom's brag book or whatever. So I did have this little tassel in my stash, and I added some beads and then tied it to the ring for a little embellishment. So let me know in the comments down below which one of these projects today was your favorite. I want to thank Theresa so much for collabing with me today. It is an honor to collab with her. She is, like I said, fabulous, fabulous crafter and a wonderful person. And I really do hope you go check out her channel and subscribe if you like what you see. I hope you all have a happy, healthy, and blessed day. And I will talk to you next time. Bye!